Do you want to know how to take your biggest problem and make it something that's easy for you to solve?
Welcome to the Inspired Efforts Podcast, your number one podcast for life, growth, and becoming the best version of yourself.
What's going on? It is Coach AJ Lew, and welcome to today's episode. So, when I was let me think, I was probably 9 years old. Okay, I'm 9 years old, and I'm in the car with my grandma and my little brother. My little brother is about 2.5, 3 years younger than me, and we're going to 7-Eleven, right? To go into 7-Eleven to get some Slurpees. And so we walk in to get some Slurpees, and I have a couple bucks, and my brother has a couple bucks, and we wanted some Pokemon cards, but we didn't have enough money to each buy our own packs. And so we came up with a deal, an agreement. And our agreement was that if we split the pack, I get the holographic card and he gets the rest of the cards, right? So we talked about it. He agreed to it. I agreed to it. And so we bought our Slurpees and we asked the guy at the counter, hey, can we get one pack of Pokemon cards? And so the guy gives us the pack and we pay for the Slurpees, we pay for the Pokemon cards. And I go and I open the package, and as soon as I open it, I look and my eyes get big. My mouth starts to water, and I realize that it is the holy grail of Pokemon cards. It is a Charizard, holographic Charizard, which was the rarest of all cards, the most powerful Pokemon in terms of the playing cards and all that stuff, right? So I'm opening this up, and I'm like, I grab it, and as soon as I start to pull it out of the pack, my little brother looks over and he sees it, and he reaches to try to snatch it, and I move my hand out of the way, and all hell broke loose. He starts crying and screaming, give me it, that's not fair, da 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 da. And I'm telling him to be quiet, and we're just going back and forth, and I'm pushing him, and I'm holding his head to get him away from me, and I give him the rest of his pack, and he's screaming, he throws it on the ground, he's crying like he's throwing a complete temper tantrum fit, bawling like a baby. And finally, my grandma has to come in the store, grab us and say, what the hell are you guys doing? And take us outside, get us back in the car, and basically strap my brother in the seatbelt so he wouldn't freak out anymore. And, I ended up keeping the card. He took the rest of the pack. He was salty about it, but hey, it is what it is, right? We made an agreement. But the reason I tell you that story is because when I was 9 years old, that was the biggest problem I had. That problem of how do I make sure that I get to keep this Charizard and my little brother doesn't take it, that was the biggest problem I had, right? And now, as an adult male, it's something that I literally had to sit back and think about and remember in order to see what that was, right? And so today's video, I want to talk to you about how to make your problem something that you can easily solve, and how to this is more about how to put them into perspective more than anything, okay? And so I want you to think about something, okay? I want you to think about something. This is how I put my problems into perspective, and it's a tremendously helpful tool that you can use anytime that you start feeling overwhelmed, or any time that you start having negative thoughts, or start feeling helpless or sorry for yourself. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go outside at nighttime, okay? I often go outside at nighttime, and I'm luckily I have a balcony that's on the 4th story. You don't need to have that, right? Just go outside. And so what I do is I go out and I just look across Las Vegas. And I think about all the people in the city, right? And so I think about me. Then I think about the 2 million, 3 million people that are in this city at any given time, right? And I look out and I just think, man, I'm one of 2 or 3 million in this city. And then I think about larger than that, and I think about the state, right? I'm one of however many millions of people in this state. And then I think about the country. I'm one of 300 million people in this country. Then I think about the world. I'm one of 7.6 billion people in this world. But I don't stop there. After I go and I look at these things and I just start to appreciate this. I'm one of this, I'm one of this, I'm one of this. Then I look up at the stars and I look at the moon and I start thinking about the fact that we are one solar system inside of our galaxy. And there are billions of galaxies throughout the universe. And so when you think about the vastness of the universe, when you think about the vastness of life, when you think about how big this really is, right? This is so much bigger than us. When you start thinking about things in that way, what it allows you to do is come back. You can digress all the way back to yourself and realize whatever this problem is, whatever this challenge is that I'm going through, in the grand scheme of things, it's not much, right? And just like my 9-year-old self, at the time, that seemed like it was going to be the biggest problem of my life. For my little brother, that was the worst thing that could have happened to him in his entire life at the time, right? And I bet you right now, if I talked to him about that story, he would crack up laughing, right? He would remember how he acted because of a Pokemon card. And so when I tell you that, and I tell you how to think of the vastness of things, and then I tell you about looking back at problems that you've had in the past, and what were they, right? How did you overcome them? Well, do they even matter anymore, right? See, too often we allow ourselves to get so overwhelmed in the moments, we forget that this too shall pass. We forget the fact that everything happens and then it's over. And it happens, then it's over. And the only thing that we have is right now, right? So one thing that I know happens for sure is that we typically will start thinking about future problems and how we're going to solve future problems. And the challenge with that is you can't act in the future because you don't know what that's going to be, right? The only thing you can act in is right now. And so a way to basically put your problems into perspective and to make sure you can solve them is ask yourself, what can I do right now? What can I do in this moment to start working on this problem? What can I do in this moment to make sure that things happen in my best interest, or things happen the way that they can happen, instead of just randomly, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. This is going to be the worst situation. No, how can you affect the outcome? How can you change the outcome? And by asking yourself those questions after you've put this whole thing in perspective in the grand scheme of things, you can finally sit down and begin working on your problems. You can finally sit down and have confidence that this too shall pass. But the only way to do that is to get this problem, this challenge, into perspective and put it into solvable terms within your mind. And so with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it brought value to you. Just remember, man, this is so much bigger than us. There's proof that there's evidence, scientific evidence, that there have been human beings on this planet for over 200,000 years. And how old is our planet? 6 billion years old or something crazy like that. When you think about that stuff, man, when you think about those numbers, whatever we're going through, man, we're not the first human being having this experience, right? It might look different because we got cell phones and we got this and that, but we're not the first human being having this experience. We're not the first human being that's going through some shit, right? But we got to put that in perspective, and we got to ask, what can we do now? Because this is the only time that we have. And so hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, the most powerful thing that you can do is leave a review and share this with a friend. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I'm hoping to grow this so that way people can get everything that I have to give in terms of knowledge, life experience, and lessons, not just from myself, but from the best in the world. So if you enjoyed this, like I said, leave a review, share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.